gentlemen, from the University of Bolton City, this is our normal main event of the officials appointed by the Central Area Council of the British Bolton World Patrol, Harry Stein, Sheriff District Chairmanship, Mohammed and Rogers. Sponsored by Main Solutions, OTFire.com, live on KLTV, the Southampton Journey, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Boxing Explosion, and Holly Full Flights. 6 300 rounds of boxing in the super middleweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, the blue short trip with a line green and a leather print effect to the winning scale of 11 stone 8 pounds. He has a good record this evening, 15 contests, 6 wins. 2 of those wins coming by way of knockout, 8 defeats, 1 draw. Presenting from Sheffield, Wise, Bolton, and Serge, Ambomo. And closing in boxing out on the red bar, the black short trip with white and the cycle blue effect. At the winning scale, 11 stone, 12 pounds. It is a standard record this evening. Consists of 14 contests, 13 wins. 4 of those wins coming by way of knockout with just a single draw. He is from the elite boxing camp here in Bolton, presenting the class of Timekeeper at the bell is your round of Berlin, Serge, in charge of the entrance letters to Brazil. 6 3
Here we are then, the main event of the evening, and it promises to be a cracker, this one. We've talked it up all night. We're certainly going to deliver this one. Two exciting styles.
Jack Flatley's 13-0-1, as we mentioned, with the draw. He's had 4 KO wins, so his opponent's 6-8-1 with 1 KO wins, been stopped twice, so as you said, this could be enough of a fight where we see a stoppage. Flatley's going to come out, I think, first and have a look, though. He doesn't want to do anything too dramatic in the first round.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing, is he? Just getting behind that jab, seeing what his opponent's going to bring to the table. Nice compact style, Flatley. You know, there's not much of a target for his opponent to hit. Already, Ambomo's gone on the back foot.
Yeah, he come out Flatley with a look on his face like he wanted to come out and dominate, he wanted to come out and be assertive, and he started to do that already.
Yeah, he certainly started well behind that jab. Just forcing Ambomo backwards. First right hand over the top that's landed.
And as we saw in the previous fight, that right hand off the top is a dangerous weapon if you catch someone clean with it.
Yeah, and James Moorcroft certainly showed how to throw it. He set up his shots nicely in that bout. Flatley's been impressive so far in his career. Well, aside from that fight with Williamson. It's good to see that he's built on that draw, though. He hasn't, you know, he's gone back to the drawing board, boxing on these shows, but you can see he's learned from that draw he had with Williamson.
Yeah, you could see that immediately afterwards in the 2 fights he's had since the draw. He's not dwelt in it or sulked in it or anything the way some fighters would. Sometimes you draw fights, sometimes you even lose fights. It's about how you come back in the next fights and how you perform after that.
Yeah, he's certainly settled into this bout nicely. Minutes ago with this opening round.
Yeah, and he's been quite flat-footed. Flatley's not been a lord of the dance type in this first round. He's just come out, established himself, and he's looking solid.
Looking strong on the inside as well.
And Bombo's got Fifian on the back with his trunks there. Obviously a big fan of the young ones. That's when many people growing up in the 1980s. But like we said, with Jack, he's only 24. He's got a lot of mileage in terms of his career in front of him, so he's going to learn a lot. He learned a lot from the draw. 2 fights he's had since then, and he's going to be learning a bit more tonight as well.
It's not really ignited this one in the opening round like we thought it would.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a bit more dramatic, but I think that's because Flatley has come out and really asserted himself, but without being too damaging in the process.
Yeah, been a really solid opener this one so far. Good round in the bank for Jack Flatley. Hashtag VIP Boxing Live on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts on the night so far. You know, who have you been impressed by? I know we've been impressed by James Moorcroft, but all the guys have done a good job that have been in there tonight. You see some real prospects.
Yeah, I thought Brad Raya was impressive tonight, and as well as Moorcroft, as we've just said.
Yeah, and all these guys are certainly looking like prospects you should look out for in the coming months and years. Steve Torkington saying that the jab's going to be important for Jack here, and yeah, it's the key in a fight like this, isn't it? You control everything behind that jab. Yeah, it's a key in most fights. You ditch the jab, you kind of start not being able to set up your own shots, really. It's the key punch for the reason. It's a bread and butter punch for the reason, and that's because of the set-up attacks. So Flatley coming out a bit faster in this round. He's stabbed a few jabs onto the body and to the head and gone for the right hand as well. So he's coming out far more assertive than we saw in that first round. Yeah, I think he's settled into this one now, isn't he? And like you said, he's just trying to assert himself, throwing a few more right hands. One thing about Flatley, he's good with those feints, isn't he? You know, he draws stuff, leads from his opponents that he can use.
Yeah, and like we said earlier in a fight, sometimes if you're struggling to land shots, or it's an unusual style to read, throwing a few feints, seeing how the opponent reacts to those feints gives you an idea of what's going to work and what's not going to work. I remember Lennox Lewis had a very unusual feint where he kind of spread both his arms out and ducked forward a little bit. And if you reacted to one of Lennox Lewis's feints, then you would literally faint because he'd absolutely blast you out with a right hand.
Ambomo's showing a bit more ambition in this second round, isn't he? He's thrown quite a few shots early on here.
Yeah, he looks like he's warmed into it himself, and like you say, when you mentioned before, his build, he looks so solid as well that you wouldn't want to get a punch on the chin from him. But I think Flatley's handled that well. Also, he's taken a bit of the sting out of them, some of the shots with a bit of movement as well.
A nice jab to the body from Ambomo. You see behind Jack there, Kyle Lamotti's new gym mate, moved over to the gym with Alex Matvienko. And we'll see him out on the VIP shows very soon. Last time out on the Jolly Boy show, of course, looked impressive there. We're looking to build on that. We're going 2019.
And Ambomo started just stalking a little bit here now, so he's not throwing too many punches, but he's stalking there. He lands flicks in a couple of jabs and goes to try and land a right hand. So he's certainly trying to work his way into this contest and landed a good right hand as we spoke.
Yeah, and a couple of people pointing out the importance of Jack's jab in this one, and it's been emphasised here, hasn't it? When he's got behind that jab, Ambomo hasn't been able to get close to him. Right hand over the top from Ambomo there.
Yeah, it's a key punch. It gives your opponent something to think about and creates range. And if you stop jabbing, you've then got to throw your power shots. And if you start throwing your power shots without a jab to set them up, you'll leave a lot of openings. So that's when your opponent starts working on their power shots and it becomes a two-way brawl. And that's not the style that would be suited to someone like Flatley.
Just missing with that left hook to the head from Flatley. He's just dipped a little bit in this round, hasn't he? The first round was a lot better.
Yeah, I thought Flatley was better in the first round. As you say, his opponent started throwing a few more punches as this round started, but there's just been a little bit of a dip in pace. Flatley wants to get into the corner, maybe get a rocket in the corner and come out a bit more assertive in the third round.
This one's scheduled for 6, of course. There's still plenty of time to go. It's like we said earlier, though, isn't it? It doesn't really matter if you have a dip in one of the rounds in a 6th round if you've got plenty of time. Different to a 4.
Yeah, so that second round, he won the round Flatley, but it wasn't the best round I've seen him produce in his career thus far. So we'll go back to the corner and come out, so we'll see what he has to offer in the next round.
Yeah, and I think we'll see him trying to establish that jab again in the third. He neglected it a little bit there, didn't he?
Yeah, in the times he was throwing the jab, it was kind of a boring, tame jab. If you're not going to throw a stiff jab and you're not going to throw a jab that's maybe a feinting jab and you're just going to stick it out and paw with it, then sometimes just don't jab at all because your opponent can throw a big right hand over the top of it.
But that's what he'll have to look out for in the coming rounds.
Lee Hurley's just said, Brad and James stole the show, agreeing what you said. And I think that's been a pretty fair assessment of the night so far. Two standout performances, certainly, Brad Ray and James Moorcroft.
Yeah, as we say, they were the two ones that stood out for me when I'll be thinking back over the show later on tonight. With a nice green tea and my feet up on the puff.
There's that jab again from Flatley we were calling for.
Yeah, and we were talking about the jab before. Sometimes you can throw a pawing jab and it can be countered. But you can also, with the jab as well, it doesn't have to be really stiff every time. You can vary the speed and the power that you put onto your jab. Muhammad Ali talked about in his autobiography that he used to throw different types of jabs so the opponent wouldn't quite know which one was coming and when, and it just helped him set up his right hand more effectively as well. So you want to throw different types of jabs, but you don't want to be throwing those ones where you sometimes see where people throw a jab and then kind of leave it out there like they forgot to bring it back to the original position.
Just know that was the great Muhammad Ali. Not that our Muhammad Ali's not great.
Yeah, our Ali's not wrote his autobiography yet, but I'm sure it'll be a roller coaster ride. I'm sitting amongst the debris of his energy bar and his crumbs that he had before when he was doing the interview. It's like being back at home again when my daughter brings toast to bed. It's always good fun.
Both men just started to open up in this third round.
Yeah, as you say, Flatley's back on the jab, but it's not looking as authoritative as it has done in previous fights. Ambomo's looking like a bit of a stalking horse at the moment, like he thinks that there might be something doing for him in the next couple of rounds, but he's just going to work his way into it.
There's a little cut under the left eye of Jack Flatley as well. I think that was caused from a head clash earlier on in the round. Something for the corner to work on anyway at the end of this third session.
Yeah, and it's something for his opponent to try and work on as well, even if it was caused by a clash of heads and it's not going to affect the contest outright. It's still going to be a minefield for Flatley to deal with.
That was a nice straight right hand from Flatley.
Yeah, Ambomo landed a couple of punches as well over the past minute, so it's not the most scintillating shootout we've seen, but it's been, when they do both connect with punches, it looks like it could develop into something.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that cut was caused by a head clash as well. The heads are coming close every time they go on the inside, both men.
Yeah, and as I said before, now Flatley's not throwing his jab now, so what can he do apart from just stand there and trade power shots, because he's not throwing the punch that brought him so much success both in this fight and previous ones. And if he stands there in front of an opponent like this, just throwing power shots, and he runs the risk of ending up on his back or taking a count himself.
Yeah, interesting to note the referee's happy with it to let them trade on the inside as well. You know, sometimes you see referees quick to separate fighters, but he's happy for both men to get on the inside. Yeah,
it's been clean on the inside. I think the referee steps in when they start mauling and can't work it out properly. You know, famously, I'm fair but I'm infirm, Joe Cortez, when Ricky Hatton fought Floyd Mayweather, just set out to kind of break Ricky Hatton's momentum and rhythm from the very first bell, even though Ricky wasn't really breaking any rules. Some referees would have allowed more inside action in that fight, and it just depends sometimes on the referee and the fighters. Famously, Richard Steele allowed Marvin Hagler to work away on the inside against Thomas Hearns, and it produced an absolute thriller.
Alex Matvienko seemed pretty happy in that Flatley corner.
Yeah, he will be. I think he's taken the first 3 rounds, but in that last round he didn't have to stand in close for so long, but he must think that's working for him.
Still plenty of time to go in this bout. Just halfway through this one. Final contest of the evening. It's been a great night of boxing so far, great night of prospects.
Yeah, sometimes you lose a few fights on the show. It's just one of those things. We were saying early on at the start of the show, I've been coming to non-off-TV shows since 2005, and sometimes you turn up to a show and the running order and everything's completely different than what it was on paper a few days prior to that. It's just one of those things on this type of show.
Round 4.
So you just come, you just find out what's been changed, who's fighting who, and then just go with the flow. And Flatley's back on the jab now at the start of this round, which I think is going to bode well for him. What he wants to try and avoid is ditching the jab, getting clipped with the shot, and then pride kicking in and wanting to throw more.
Nice little uppercut from Ambomo landed there. He's just showing signs that he's still a live dog in this fight, isn't he?
Yeah, and because of his building, he's quite a bulky guy, he's going to generate a certain amount of power on his shots, and you don't want to be standing there letting him tee off with some of them like he just tried with a right hand.
Yeah, there's that jab we were talking about from Flatley again. He looks comfortable at this range, doesn't he?
Yeah. Like we say, when he jabs, when he's at range, Flatley, he could do this all night long against this type of an opponent. What he wants to avoid is, as we saw before, kind of going chest to chest and just trading blows, because that's not really his game at this point.
Whiskers away with that right hand over the top, Flatley.
And as we say, ultimately boxing is always about working to your strengths, doing the things that work for you, using your attributes to the best of your ability, and we've seen Flatley starting to do that again in this round.
Yeah, he did well to get out that uppercut and then the wild hook that Ambomo threw there. A lot of venom in both those shots. It only takes one of them, doesn't it? They look wild, but one of them connects.
Yeah, the flip side, the downside to that is those big, wild, swinging shots, when they do miss, to take out more energy out of you than the more flicking shots that you may miss. So if he misses a couple more of those shots, he might not have the inclination to try them over the next couple of rounds, and he might let Flatley tee off a little bit more, but at a safe distance and in a safer position than he was previously.
Just over a minute to go in this fourth round. I think Jack's dealt with what Ambomo's brought to the table pretty well so far in this one. Plenty of time still to go, of course.
Yeah, he's not grown frustrated. A couple of times he's ditched the jab and tried different things. Takes a big right hand there that he needs to watch out for that.
Yeah, and I think that'll wake him up a little bit as well. It was a big shot that caught Flatley there. Ambomo with that right backhand.
And then he tries it again. He lands a good left hook as well, Ambomo. So he's finishing this round much better than he started it.
Yeah, and it's become a bit ragged, this one now. Ambomo's had a bit of success there. Yeah, he hasn't had before.
And I think Flatley tried to reinsert himself straight away by pushing his opponent along the ropes when he maybe could have just gone back to the jab again.
Been a good close to the round, this from Ambomo.
Yeah, he's looked dangerous a couple of times towards the end of the round here, both with the right hand and the left hook as well. So it'd be something for Flatley and his team to think about when he goes back to the corner.
Yeah, there's certainly things to think about for Flatley. He's not had it all his own way in that round. You know, it's so difficult to keep someone off with the power and size of Ambomo, isn't it, behind that jab?
Yeah, and I thought he deserved to win that round. Flatley landed some good jabs, but I think those power shots from Ambomo were the best shots of the round, and the ones that you think about when you're thinking back on the round itself. I'm sure Alex Matvienko will disagree with me, as he did on many occasions back when he was fighting and I used to attend his fights, but I just thought Ambomo showed some menace and some glimpses of what he can do in that previous round.
2 more rounds to go this one. We'll keep commenting on the Facebook page. Hashtag VIP Boxing Live on Twitter as well, of course.
10 seconds, corners.
Yeah, a few of us agreeing on us. It has been a really good show here from the University of Bolton Stadium.
Seconds out, round 5.
And we've still got 2 rounds left to go. Flatley has had a few warning shots fired across his bows in the previous rounds, so it'll be interesting to see how he comes out and reacts to them in this one. Ambomo's got absolutely nothing to lose, and he knows that he can land a couple of his shots as well, so he'll be thinking about trying to get some more in.
And there's the danger from Ambomo, that wild uppercut that slipped past the head of Flatley. And that's all it is a case of now, isn't it? Flatley's just got to be careful of what's coming back.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do anything silly, anything that's going to lead to him getting dropped. It'd be a disaster for him. He just wants to keep jabbing. He's got 6 minutes left to see through, so just keep on it, keep his wits about him, and just make sure he goes away with the win. And Ambomo in this particular start of this round has barely thrown a punch, so maybe his little efforts in the previous round took a bit out of him.
Yeah, these opponents tend to have a round or so where they get a bit of success, don't they? Flatley's done well to deal with that. A couple of good shots from Ambomo there, though. Flatley just fell in after that right hand and squared up a little bit.
Yeah, Flatley wasn't as successful with his punches there. Maybe he was a bit too close. Ambomo managed to flood a few through, although he missed a couple himself as well. But Flatley doesn't want to be in the position where he's putting himself at risk against his particular opponent, as he just did.
A nice left hook again from Flatley. That's the shot he's landed nicely on the inside.
Yeah, he's landed a couple of nice shots. Ambomo's coming back, but when they're in this type of range, it can be a bit dangerous for Ambomo.
Just over a minute to go of this penultimate round of the evening. It's been an unremarkable but decent performance from Flatley so far. I think that's the best way to sum it up.
Yeah, I think unremarkable is a good word this round. Pretty much encapsulate the whole contest. Flatley with that bit more quality. Ambomo firing in a couple of meaty looking shots but not being able to capitalise on them and land a follow-ups, although he landed a very nice right uppercut on the inside again. And if he carries on in this vein for the rest of this round, it could be an argument made for him taking this one as well, because even though Flatley's work has been nice, his shots have been kind of peppery type of shots, whereas Ambomo's landed a couple of meaty ones.
Yeah, it was a good right uppercut that from Ambomo on the inside that landed. He's shown glimpses throughout the contest that he's started to get to Flatley a little bit.
Yeah, and he's tying Flatley up now and wasting a bit of time on the inside as well.
Right hand missing again. Flatley's been quite good defensively, actually. We've got to give him a bit of credit. He's got away with a lot of the shots that Ambomo's been throwing at him.
Yeah, he's managed to just slip a few of them at the last moment. And the ones he's taken, a couple of the ones he's taken, he's managed to take the steam off them as well.
Interesting one to score, that, isn't it, Terry? How have you got this contest so far?
So far, I've got it 4-1 to Flatley. I think that last round as well, you could possibly have made a case for this opponent, but I thought Flatley just did just about enough over the course of the round. And Ambomo, you can't expect to win the rounds on the referee's cards with a couple of shots here and there, even though the shots are quite eye-catching at times.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the referee has this at the end of this round. But always interesting to see how the referee has it. Of course, there's only the referee scoring it. We don't have the 3 scoring judges. You just have one card to look at the end of this contest.
Yeah, and it becomes a case of interpretation, and the referee's obviously got the best view in the house of what's going on in there as well. So he may have looked at Ambomo's work that last round and thought, you know what, he landed some solid punches, so I'm going to give him the nod in that round. And if that was the case, say the referee did that, we'd be looking at 3 rounds to 2 with the last round to go for. So it'd be an interesting one, but I do think Flatley will win this one by a decent margin.
And Ambomo coming back with a bit of ambition of his own there behind that jab. It's been a quiet contest, this one. It's not ignited like we thought it would.
No, on paper, like we said, on paper it looked like the best fight of the night, but the best performance and fight that we've seen has been the Moorcroft fight.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been a good performance this so far from Flatley. You know, he's certainly just getting the job done in there. Good ticking over fight for him as he waits for that title opportunity.
Yeah, and as we say, it just gives him a chance to get his account open for the year. He took a right hand there that made him take a few steps back. He just needs to watch out for that. Yeah,
you could hear the crowd groan with that right hand. It snapped Flatley's head back. It was a lovely shot from Ambomo.
And it may have muddled his sense a little bit. He looks a bit like he needs to take a breather.
Yeah, he's done well there, Flatley, just to tie Ambomo. I'm not sure if he was hurt by it, but he just bought himself a little bit of a breather there.
Yeah, I think the fact he's tied him up, he may not have been hurt, he may be more stunned and a bit tired as well, and it's not really the point in the fight when you want to be taking a shot like that from someone who looks like they can generate a bit of power. And now Ambomo's going for it a little bit more. He's throwing a couple more shots than we've seen him throw previously and trying to bunch a few of them together.
Yeah, but he's finishing strongly in this last round, Ambomo. You know, maybe he thinks he's got a bit of a chance in this one, like he suggested early on. The referee's seen that 5th round in Ambomo's favour. He's certainly finishing strong here.
Yeah, he's winning the round, Ambomo, so far. He's just deafier shots. Flatley looks like he's come out to try and see the last round through, and his opponent's got a totally different idea. And again, enough for good right hand there.
Yeah, he's still looking for that big shot, Ambomo. Just under a minute to go with the final round here. In fact, he's just got to get behind that jab again like he did early on.
Yeah, he needs to sharpen things up. Flatley, he doesn't want to be looking at this last round of the fight and seeing that he's quite ragged, and obviously for future opponents to be seeing it as well and giving them something to work on when they fight him.
Of course, Jack dropping down to like middleweight.
And again, Ambomo's been messy, it's been industrious, not always successful, but I think he's done enough to win this round on my card.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you on that one. Interesting to see how the referee scores this one. I mean, for me, I think Jack's done enough throughout the contest. Ambomo finishing strong again. Nice right hand over the top, and there we have it. This will be a really interesting one that goes to the referee scorecard.
Yeah, I got it 58-56 for Flatley. As I say, for that last round, Ambomo did well in that last round. I also thought he deserved to win the fourth round as well. He just looked very strong, very determined in those two particular rounds, and maybe if there was a couple more rounds in the fight, we may have seen him cause a few more problems with Flatley, although both men looked tired at the end of that one because there was a little bit of mauling in there as well.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think if you're going to give Ambomo rounds, the fourth and the sixth were his best, without a shadow of a doubt. But Flatley's certainly done enough for me tonight. A decent performance again. Lee Hurley saying it could be a draw.
I'd be surprised. I think we're looking at maybe 59-56 or 59-57 from the referee. If maybe you might see a few draw rounds.
That concludes our evening of boxing here from the University of Bolton Stadium. Next week we're held at the new Leisure Centre, the 16th of March. Thank you for your attendance tonight. We're sorry for this slightly edited and short show. Don't do it, you can still punch up on the boxing machine. Here you get the highest score, take a photograph, send it to us on the VIP email, and you'll win 2 tickets to our show of your choice. Thank you for your attendance. Good night.
There we have it then, that finishes off the action for tonight. And Terry, just a quick round-up of the action. Performance of the night for you, surely it's got to be James Moorcroft.
Yeah, James Moorcroft definitely stood out tonight. And to be fair, James, every time I watch him, stands out more and more because, as we say, once you find out his background, it makes his performances all the more impressive. I always look forward to seeing him fight because I think he does slightly different things every time you see him fight and brings a lot to the table. I thought Flatley had to weather a couple of moments there that were a bit tricky for him. He just had to do the best he could and get through that fight. Muhammad Ali came out, looked good. That last round dip that he had again is a bit disconcerting going forward. And I think Brad Ray put in a really good performance. One of the performances of the night so far. And Jack Rafferty always looks a good, solid, technically proficient fighter.
Yeah, I think Jack Rafferty was good for me. You know, changing gym, there's a lot of changes for him in the build-up to this, and you know, he got the job done. He looked really good doing it at times, and he wasn't in with an easy opponent in Richard Samuel. Someone I'd like to see him with a few more of the VIP prospects over the coming months and years. He certainly tested Rafferty with a really good performance from him. Yeah.